In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use ACCESSFM when analyzing products in your GCSE NEA. Firstly, you need to look up a variety of inspirational images, and that will really help you gain the top marks. So why do we analyze products? Firstly, you need inspiration, especially when it comes to aesthetics. So you need to pick things that are visually interesting, make sure you've got a variety there that inspire you. You also learn from other designs. You can study the materials they've used, what joining methods they've used, and how they've actually finished each material. You can avoid the same mistakes that others have done previously. You can also take a product and make improvements. And lastly, you can avoid copying other designers. So you need to show that creative journey. Now, why should you look at a product that is unrelated to yours? So if you are designing a chair, I would not recommend you look at 5 to 10 chairs to analyze. I would look at other things as well. So we want to avoid design fixation there. We want to make sure we are not fixated on a single idea, that we've looked outside of the norm. That will help us expand ideas. As I said just previously, you will get inspiration outside of the usual. So the idea is that if you are making a chair, if you just look at several other chairs, it will look a bit samey. So try and think outside of the box, as it were. Biomimicry is very good for this. So looking at designs and natural patterns or patterns found in nature, and how you can be inspired by things outside of the norm. So breaking down the acronym there. So A is for aesthetic. So when you are analyzing your product, get a nice image of your product in your project and describe how it looks, and use some descriptive language. So look at the color and the reasons why, the overall shape and form, the pattern, the texture, the appearance, and the style. So try and write full sentences and say what you like and what you don't like about the product. Moving on to C is the cost. Now, you need to know how much the product costs to buy. So I would suggest going to buy a product online because they normally have the most detail about a product just before you're about to buy it. So how much does the product cost to buy? Now, in business, it generally costs to make around about a third. The markup is ×3, but you might be able to find some more information. How much do you think it costs to make? So break down the costs you think to make. This is where you can talk about manufacture as well. So if it's a one-off, it would be quite expensive. But if it's made in bulk, you can suggest that it would be more cost-effective to make an item in bulk. Is it good value for your target market or your user? So look at the cost. Don't say whether things are cheap or expensive. You talk about it in relation to your target market and your user. When we move on to C, that is your customer. Who is the intended target market? So do not be vague here. Be quite specific. Now, does the product that you are analyzing appeal to your intended target market? So what is their age and what is their gender? What are their likes, dislikes, and preferences? So you try and build up a customer profile based on this product that you've selected to analyze. Moving on to E, the environment. Now, this one's a lot more challenging. So how does the product impact the environment? So what is your product made from, and where are those materials commonly found? And what is the possible impact it has on the environment? Here, you must consider the 6 R's of sustainability: recycle, reuse, repair, rethink, reduce, and refuse. Make sure you cover those. So what happens at the end of this product's life? Is it easy to be recycled or repaired? I use AirPods as a good example because they are notoriously bad, at least the earlier designs were, at being recycled. So at the end of its life, it would just end up on waste sites. Moving on to S, that's the size. Now, what is the exact size of the product in millimeters? Here, I would not, when you are looking up images online, I wouldn't do an image search. I would go to buy the product, because ordinarily they will have a product information page where it breaks down the exact size of the model, unless you have an actual physical model in your hand, which I would highly recommend. Would it be improved if it was bigger or smaller? This helps if you have the product in hand. And is it comfortable to use? You should consider the ergonomics and anthropometrics here. And again, if you have a physical product in hand, this makes this part of Access FM a lot easier to expand on. The next S is for safety. Is the product safe to use? Could the user hurt themselves? What are the potential risks? Could you trap your fingers? Can you drop it onto your foot, for example? And are there any sharp edges that you can make safer? The F is for function. How does the product work? What is it supposed to do? What is it needed for? And could it be improved? Let's go back to that one. So when you are expanding on these, you would take an image of your product. You could place it in the middle or to the side. Remember, your teacher is not allowed to tell you how your project should look. But if you cover all of these areas, it would be considered very thorough. Now, moving on to M, and the last one is materials. What is it made from? You have to be specific. So do not just say wood, metal, say which category of wood. And if it's hard to ascertain the wood, I would not actually pick that. If it's hard to identify, I would look for a different photo on a website that has the actual material details. So you have to be specific when talking about the materials: hardwood, softwood, pine, manufactured board, for example, MDF, plywood, and so on. Why do you think these materials were chosen? So think about cost, think about aesthetic, think about weight. There's lots of reasons why. Now, this links directly to the specification and the exam content as well. So the reasons why materials are chosen, are they susceptible, or are they better in moist areas, for example? Would a different material be better? Now, that's what you are suggesting when you are analyzing this. How was the product assembled? Now, again, if you have the product in hand, it would be easier, but try and find an image online where you can have lots of different angles. And what manufacturing methods were used? So how was it finished, for example? Was it laminated? Was it line bent? Was it spray painted? So all of these things should be thoroughly analyzed. Now, here's some top tips. Access FM is both good for when you are analyzing products and then producing a detailed specification just after designing. So when you are analyzing products, you use Access FM to analyze. And then when you are producing a specification, you create those categories for the product that you intend to make. Make sure you signpost everything. Make it really obvious to the moderator and the person who's marking your work where all of the information is. Use bold headings and lots of detail. I would strongly suggest to try and have a physical product in hand, or search for a product online where lots of detailed photos are provided, along with material information, cost, size, and so on. I would color code, so I would highlight things in green that you like about the product, and also things in red where you do not, things that you don't like about the product, and ways that you can improve it. I would also strongly suggest that you study a variety of products, so some that are very similar to what you are going to, or the same category, and also thinking outside of the box, so looking at different products, looking at biomimicry. But the idea here is to not study 2 or 3 products, but to study 5, 6, 7, and beyond. Okay.